Well, hello, Scott here. We're going to continue our acrylic paint pouring journey together. So I'm going to first show you where the ones that I made in my first video are right now. They're still drying, and I've learned some things and I've analyzed some things, and then I'm going to clear all this away and I'm going to try some new paintings using some of the things that I've learned. So this was the first one that I did. This had all 6 colors in a cup. I turned it over and it ran really badly. If you remember the cup, the paint was too loose. And the impact of the paint being too loose is several things. One, you can see it just kind of ran quite a lot. It looks kind of like the surface of a planet now. The second thing is if you look on the edge, it didn't stick to the edge because the paint was so loose. Now, you see those shiny drops. This is the impact of using the silicone oil in the paint. Now, the effect of the silicone oil is it's supposed to bubble through the layers of paint and pull layers of paint up to make cool little cells and pockets. But you have to get that all cleaned off before you can varnish it because the varnish won't stick to the silicone oil. So that's one problem with this painting. I wouldn't keep this painting except it's my first one, and I'm going to keep it as a starting point of where we went from here. So that's what happened there. Now, the second one, this was the 3 primary colors that I did. This one came out with better cells. This one, I thickened the paint. And so you can see that the flow trawl that I use helps the colors to not mix with each other, helps to create these pockets. And so we've got a lot of nice cells. We got kind of a cool effect. So I like the way this one came out pretty well. Now, these 2 down here, I had a problem with. If you remember, one of the big mistakes I made in the last video is that this tray is an old tray for a washer, and it's been sitting outside on its side for 2 or 3 years. It's got some warping to it. These racks, I had to really work hard to find a spot where to put these racks on this tray so they would be flat. And if you remember last time I showed I'd use a level, but I made a mistake. Midway through the filming, after I poured those 2, I then swapped the racks and brought these 2 canvases down here. And when I did that, I did not refigure out how to get them flat. And if you remember on the video, I had a problem with both of them in that they didn't stay flat. They weren't on flat surfaces. And you can see that in the resulting dry pattern. So you can see on both of them, the stuff was flowing to one side because after you left it, you could see here, after I left it alone, it continued to, this was actually rotated this way, it continued to flow off to the side because it wasn't flat. It had a tilt to it. So it's really important when you leave these to dry that they be flat because otherwise everything is just going to kind of ooze off into the side. Now you might want that, but I didn't necessarily want that. Now that said, I don't mind either of these 2. I can see both of them have some lumps in them where I didn't stir the paint well enough. So that's something I've got to do. Both of them are going to have the silicone spots on them where I had silicone oil in. I'm going to have to go in and clean that off before I can varnish it. But I really like some of the cells. I really like some of how this worked. I like this one. This has some cool motion to it. I like this one as well. I like 3 out of the 4. Actually, I like these 3. This one I'm not so thrilled about, but it was my first one, so I'm going to keep it. So what I'm going to do now is I've actually got a brand new system for setting up to keep my canvases flat. I'm going to take all this down and bring out the new system, set it up, and we're going to do a little bit more painting today. All right, so the setup this time is a little different. This time what I have is a cement mixing bin from the hardware store. And then I have these metal shelving holders that I have covered in a light coat of silicone. And so let that dry. That's going to help keep the paint off of it so I can clean it up afterwards. And that's the setup. So it's a super simple setup. The nice thing about this is it's easy to collapse. I can just take this all apart. I've seen versions of this where they drill holes and they run metal rods through the holes. But then someone said, well, why don't you just get these and then you can take them off when you're done and it all collapses down. So that's what we're trying. It's reasonably level. It's not perfect level, but it's pretty close. And unlike last time, I've learned I'm not going to mess with them after I've poured it. I'm going to leave them here. I've got it set up for 2. I do have another bin and another set of these if I wanted to do more, but I think 2 is going to be fine. Now today, we're going to be using the same Meeden acrylic paints. I'm going to be using 4 colors. I'm going to do one on a white background and one on a black background. So my 4 colors today are going to be silver, phthalo green, rose, and mid yellow. So those will be the 4 colors that I'm going to use. Again, I'm going to do one with a black background and do them in one order. And then I'm going to do the other one on a white background and do them in the other order. I've learned a little bit more about the process since my last video, so I'm going to be using a few different techniques as I go along to help out. I also understand a little bit more about what's going on. That the goal here is you're going to put the paint down in layers. And to get those cool cells and bubbles, you want to get those bottom layers coming up. And the silicone oil is what I used for that last time. This time I've mixed dish soap in with my colors. So I've pre-mixed my colors again. What I did here is I put equal quantities of acrylic paint and Floetrol, and then added water until it got to a consistency of honey is what you're going for, of warm honey. So it's not quite honey consistency, but warm honey. And that's what I've done on all of the paints. I'm going to give them one final mix, and then we're going to get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down a layer of, we're going to do the black first. I'm going to put down a layer of black. Then I'm going to put the colors and make the cup that I'm going to dump with. With the cup, the idea is that whatever color goes into the bottom of the cup is going to end up being what's on the top of the painting when you flip it. So the color that goes in last on the cup is going to be the color that's on the bottom when you flip it. So it's going to be the reverse of what you may think. So then when you flip it over, you then let the colors go, and the color that went into the cup first is going to be on the top, but that's the color that's going to spread and separate the most. And then the other colors will begin to come through. That's the concept. You use heat as you're doing it in order to encourage and separate those top colors to let those bottom colors come through. And that's how you're creating those cells. I'm also going to try using a corner protector as I tilt them. So the idea is that this is going to go in the corner as I tilt it to keep more of the paint on the surface of the canvas so I don't lose so much paint as I'm doing the tilting. I've never used this before, but we'll see how it goes. Conceptually, I like the idea of keeping more paint on the canvas. I'm also going to give it more time. That was something I learned last time from watching how I did things, is I went quickly, and if you go quickly, it doesn't give the cells a lot of time to develop. So I'm going to go a little bit more slowly today with my painting. So we're going to start with black as a coat, and to paint this on, I've just got a putty knife. So the idea is that you're just putting this down as a first coat. This helps the paint move better on the canvas when you get to moving the paint to have that wet base coat. And again, we're gonna do black with one, we're gonna do white with the other. Again, just to compare how they come out. So this doesn't have to be a fantastic coating. The idea is it's like a lubricant. It's also going to provide sort of a background color to what's going on here. So we'll be interested to see what happens. So we're going to put some green in. I'm going to use I think I figured it that I made enough for 2 pours, so about half of each of these colors onto the cup. Green, yellow, pink, silver. Yellow is next. And pink, and I'm realizing I could use, and I've gone to silicone cups for my paint mixing instead of the paper ones I had last time. So I'm realizing I should use a smaller cup for the pour, given what's going on here. So I'll probably just use one of these silicone cups for my other one. And then we're going to do silver on the top. So my goal here is the silver goes down on top of the black, because I thought that would look the nicest. So the silver is on top of the cup. So as I flip the cup over, the silver is going to go down first onto the paint. That's what we're going to do here. So we're going to put the cup down. I went too slow on that. Because this is a problem with my cup being so big compared to the amount of paint in there. So I needed a smaller cup. So I messed that up already. What we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and get some of that paint out of there. Oh, looks like most of it did come out. All right, that's okay. So now, let that sit for a minute. And I'm going to spread it out a little bit. So we're going to move it around. Again, see that silver has all but disappeared. Remember, the silver was what was on top. My idea is that I'm going to want to have that silver coming up through the bubbles. That silver is going to be that base coat. So we'll see how this goes. I'm getting a feeling I may not have enough paint, but I have plenty of paint still left. So if I end up needing to use up paint, I can do that and then make up some more before we go again. So what I'm doing first is I'm just trying to get this paint moving. I'm not trying to fill it to the corners. I'm trying to just fill the canvas at this point with my colors. So I like that I'm getting the green to kind of get involved a little bit. because I think there's too much yellow, but I can see as I'm doing this tilting, the other colors are coming through that yellow. There's that pink. The silver, I wish I could get more silver out, but we haven't started the bubbling yet, so we'll get to it. So we're coming down here. We can see that pink is kind of on the top and the bottom, which is kind of interesting to me. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna let it sit for a minute and clean off the black paint that hit my hands. So what's gonna happen in theory at this point is that we're going to wait and let some cells form. So what's gonna happen, in order for the cells to form, the top layers of the paint have to split apart a little bit. And this has something you can encourage with heat. So we're gonna do that. So I got some fire. Yeah. I've not used the fire before, so, oh, look at that. I want to get more fire, please. There we go. So you can see where I hit the fire, it makes little bubbles appear. It's interesting, it's doing very, very small bubbles. Huh. Interesting. I need more fire. Ah, too much fire. And so you can see what it's interesting. So the cells that it's forming at this point now, whoa, that was too close. There we go. So as you can see, what it's doing is little bubbles. Interesting, okay. Tiny bubbles. Let's try the other paint gun and just see what happens here. So the other heat gun, I mean. Because I'd like to get bigger bubbles. Maybe this is the dish soap talking though, you know? Well, see now I'm kind of spreading it a little bit. Oh, but that's interesting. So I've already got a bit of a skin forming because I've worked so slowly. So now I'm getting cracks. That's actually kind of cool. I kind of like that. Wow, that's funky. So now we're going to go back and do some, trying to head it towards the corners. I probably need more paint in there. I'm just going to try using what I've got. Again, we're just learning here. So we're going to put the corner tool on. We're going to go hard in the corner to this way. Take it all the way to the edge. So that's stretching out my little bubbles, which is good. I kind of needed some bubble stretching. Okay. We're learning, so we're just going to leave that one the way it is. And we'll move on. Now we're going to do same idea, but now I'm going to do the pour with white down first. And we will see how that probably change absolutely everything about it. So we're going to add some white. Oop. Pour cup number 2. Again, I thought it was going to be fuller than that, but it's not. I'm thinking about the best way to pour it. If I pour it this way, we're just going to try. Oh, wait. Remember, Scott, you do this thing here. You do it like this, and then tilt it over like this and leave it. That's right. That's my little X I made. That's cute. Boop. Pretty. Now, I'm going to leave the stuff in the cup because that's useful to have as a helper. Okay, so what's different now? First thing that's different I noticed right away is I do notice it seems to be opening up a little more. So then the next step I'm going to do is try to move this around to get the whole canvas some coverage. Okay, I can see I have a lot more in this one. I can certainly see that. We're not going to go all the way to the corner and pour it off. That's not going to happen yet. We're going to just try to get good canvas coverage. And then we're going to try to make cells. So the cells, you want to make the cells after you do this initial pour, because if you tilt it too much once you've got the cells, then the cells will get misshapen. Because, of course, we wouldn't want anything to be misshapen in my beautiful paintings, right? Of course, right. All right. So there's my colors and my start. So now I want to try and develop cells. The blue torch has not been particularly successful. Maybe I'll try it again. Fire! Turn it down. So I'm going to try it from a higher distance and slower. Okay, so I can see what it's doing is it's making like little cells, which I know the torch might do. Turn up a little bit. Oh, fire! Ah, too much fire. Ah, way too much fire. All right. There's nothing but the highest quality torches from Amazon, huh? All right. I don't think it should be booting like that. Okay, there we go. So now see what we're getting. We're getting little bitty pockets, which is cool. I actually like that a lot. Because I also know that the little pockets will open up to bigger pockets when I start the tilting thing. So that's nice. It's cool. It's kind of like you're painting with the colors underneath it, because that's what's happening is you're separating out the colors underneath it. Okay. Ah, wrong direction. That was not off. That was a high. That's off. Okay. So now we're going to do the corners. I think my first goal is going to be to get more of that yellow swallowed up. So I'm going to do that by tilting it into this corner first. Yoop. Yeah, see, a lot faster this time. And then we'll bring the body of paint back to the middle. I don't know how I'm supposed to hold it when I'm doing this. Because right now, my thumb's just like right in the paint. And I don't think that's right. I'm going to try holding it underneath and we'll see how that goes. So now we're going to go into this side. Bring that body of paint over there. Okay, and then we're going to bring the body of paint back into the middle. So we've got some cool striping going on, which I think is neat. Okay. Now we're going to do this corner over here again, bringing it over into the corner. I am losing a lot less paint with this corner tool. That's good. I like that. Okay. I'm going to do pretty aggressively. I think I'm just going to go for it on this side and just let it come. And go ahead and let some of it pour off of this. I missed that corner a little bit. Definitely don't want to miss the corners. You want to do the edges too. Just make sure they're covered. And now we're going to do this last bit here. And this I'm just going to let it kind of run off the side. Because I'm at the end. Oh, I'm liking this one a lot, actually. And I think I'm done. I like it. I like that a lot. Okay. Touch up anything on the side that needs it. Can't see this side. I know the last thing to do, which I'm going to do now with both of them, is you run a scraper along the edge to break the dripping a bit. Otherwise, it's just going to keep running and running and running. So you scrape these edges So we're going to let these dry. And then in my next video, I'll come back and show you how this one worked out. That'll be the pattern. So we'll see what happens. I also may have, by the time I do my next one, have some more information about the paintings I did last time as I try to figure out how to make those work out. So it will be interesting. There you go. More art. Yay. See you next time. Bye-bye. Oop. Oh, gonna get paint on the screen.